Okay, so today I've compiled everything that I've learned on in Unreal, and I was putting some blueprints together. The first thing that I noticed was, as somebody pointed out, anything that's got a destroy actor node in it, sometimes when you come back to the blueprint and open it up again, the actual geometry is missing out the viewport. There's nothing there. It seems to be just with the destroy actor node. There was a thread that I was reading just before, which was, if the node is put at the end of the event graph, then it doesn't cause a problem. Now, I found that it still caused a problem, no matter where it was. So I've just decided, well, that'll just be the last part of the process. You know, he's just put the destroy in, because once the blueprint's written, in theory, it shouldn't need to be changed in terms of like what is in the viewport. You know, once you put the geometry in, you put all the components in that you want for the first time, then yeah. But what I might do is, with that in mind, knowing that I'm going to have that problem, that issue, that could mean that if I make the blueprint as I want it, do the event graph and everything, and then don't put the destroy actor in, but make a copy of it. So I've got a copy with and a copy without, and that way, if I do need to make changes, I don't have to go so far back. I don't have to rewrite it all and redo the blueprint and everything, which just all about saving time, isn't it? So this was me experimenting with my collectible. I've got a collectible that's connected to a points system. It's as simple as collecting so many items during the level. If you think like a bit more like Sonic, where you collect rings, which is your health. That's one of the routes that I was going down. Whereas this is meant to be a power-up. This is going to be a power-up, something that you collect. So the first section was obviously make it a collectible, make it into a point, give it a point value, and that can go towards the points. That's one thing that I want to create. The other thing is that he's going to be collecting mushrooms throughout the level. So this is going to be one of the power-ups. The mushrooms is actually just going to be something that he collects. And the more mushrooms you get, the more points you get. Mushrooms are going to be more valuable. I'm not 100% sure. Like in Sonic, you collect the rings, you get attacked, or you hit a trap, you lose the rings, you have the opportunity to collect them. Now that's one thing that I was thinking about, and I thought it was kind of good. I mean, my guy's a tree, and he's collecting acorns as a power-up, and he's collecting mushrooms as his sort of his reward, sort of like achievement type thing. That's the sort of point of the level, is going to be you collecting as many mushrooms as you can, and kernel pots. You collecting kernel pots as mushrooms, and so I'm going to create another collectible, which is going to be attached to another point system. So I'm sort of getting all this together with one. At the minute, I was trialing different things. You know, your different emitters, different sounds. It's dead obvious that I'm going to have to get my own. There's not enough and nothing that's usable for what I want it for. So that was the first thing. Put all that together, put my components in, and make my event graph. I faffed about a bit, just the aesthetics of it, but really, this is what I was thinking about, like the creating a duplicate, because I'm going to faff about with this a bit more. I'm going to come back, I'm going to update the geometry in it, so I kind of need one that's going to work and one that I can quickly jump in and play with, so we definitely need to make a duplicate on that. Something else, I was making two. I was making one collectible with a collect me across the top, just as part of the tutorial section, and then I thought, well, there's no point, because then do you put that to the point system? Do you not? Do you just have it as part, a part of the tutorial section of the level? And I thought I'll just put little signs, because it's not going to be that difficult a game that you're not going to be able to figure it out. It's aimed at sort of 6 to 12-year-olds, and do you know what I mean? Everyone in between. It's meant to be just a fun game, a bit like Sonic and Mario and Crash Bandicoot. I'm definitely going down the Crash Bandicoot route. I like that. Something else that I wanted to look at after sort of checking a few things out today was you can restrict the movement of the camera. Now, I got sidetracked by looking at side-scrolling platformers and thought, well, can I do a side-scrolling platformer with a sort of Crash Bandicoot type feel to it, and where the camera tracks differently in different places. Now, yes, this changes the dynamics a little bit. It gives me a lot more scope if I'm doing a third person where the camera's a little bit more free. But then I think I like the idea, and like Mario, Crash Bandicoot, and Sonic, the camera is a fixed camera, and it only moves during like different sections of the levels. Say, Crash Bandicoot, it's sort of starts off at the back. On sort of the later games, you can move it around as you get onto like a castle level. The camera will track around to give you a better view of where you're going and all that kind of thing, which is really good. I was thinking about sort of one of the first level being coming down the volcano. Instead of coming down the volcano in a straight line, which would be pretty boring, I wanted to sort of zigzag across the mountain. That I can still do that, but if I have the camera sort of track and move, it means that the cliff face or the volcano face that is sort of going up is one edge of the map. You can't walk up that, and if I stop your character from walking sort of off the edge, that was one of the things. Do I stop the character from coming off the edge or do I not? And then sort of have it wrap around the mountain. Then the camera will track. It will be good for the camera to track around, and then obviously I can zigzag it back, and the camera can turn and be sort of from behind his shoulder. Sort of more of a third person field of view. Sorry. Than a side scroller. So there's a lot to play with, and rather than sort of restrict myself, I like the opportunity to sort of play with the cameras a little bit. I've got to be careful though, because obviously going into the realms of game level design, which is a whole entity in itself, you can fast get lost in sort of messing about with the camera too much and forgetting about the fun aspects, the element of what your game is all about. And the camera thing, do you know what I mean? That's for more people like me. Do you know what I mean? 6 to 12-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? As long as it's fun, you can make it fun for them without having the things like that in it. And I think that's one of the elements that I'm sort of right. All these fancy things are great, but if a 6 to 12-year-old isn't going to notice it, and it's not going to change the fun factor for them, then is it that me pushing the boat out to widen my demographic, or am I sort of stabbing in the dark at sort of things that aren't necessary? And I think that there's always a sort of fine line there, isn't there? There's always that, where you sort of do you step out the boat and do that little bit extra. Going back to the video, I'm now putting in volume class of navigation mesh bounds volume box, which is needed to sort of, it's about telling the AI where it can go. The gentleman on the tutorial that I mentioned, that it was also tells the player where it can move to. Not 100% sure on that one. I need to check, because you don't have an nav mesh bounds box. as a standard. So don't know, we'll see. But yeah, this was something that I'd learned. I do this a lot. I sort of take screenshots and write on what, do you know what I mean, important things that it saves. To be honest, it saves my brain space. I can fast get sort of bogged down with learning so much stuff all at once. I tend to sort of go at things like a raging bull, and it's great in some respects, but in other respects you just miss so much by doing it that way. So I like to take screenshots, and obviously I video a lot of the stuff that I do. You never know what's going to be valuable. You never know when you sort of you need to watch it back again. So what am I doing now? Oh, right, okay, I was creating an enemy, that's right. So I was creating an enemy. I've just duplicated the third person character blueprint and named it enemy. I've given it a pawn sensing component. It changes the field of view so that it will run at you when it can see you. So I took all the other elements out of it. Pardon me. Do you know what I mean? They were in the third person player character blueprint. That mean that you can import and it tracks with the camera and all this kind of stuff. Took all those components out because I don't need them. It's just a fast way of sort of getting a character blueprint that we can use. So yeah, doing this was great. I mean, straight away I was like, wow, that was cool, because I'd not tested this one. This was one of the ones that I'd not tested, and as you can see, I'm sort of like, what? It's meant to, do you know what I mean? But obviously I'd not built the rest of it. Yeah, I hadn't told it what to do when it actually caught you. One of the other things that I've noticed as well is this is later on. You might not be able to catch it because of the speed of the recording, but later on I noticed that the area around either me as the character or the area around the enemy to say when it's caught you is quite large. So he could be like 3 or 4 paces away from you and explode. Don't know whether that would make a difference as to whether it causes damage or not. I presume once you're in the box to affect the collision, it will have the damage effect on it. That's the whole point. Is the blueprint actually adds the damage to it. So I'm sure that won't make a difference, but it does make a difference in terms of you don't want it to look like your character is miles away. Obviously exaggerating, but too far away when it explodes. Wants to be practically on top of you, otherwise you're going to get players sort of, it's not fair, do you know what I mean? You've got to make it fair for the player, and I suppose that's part of the skill, is tying all these things together, and not just about making the blueprints, but editing your blueprints to make the game feel right, and that's the element that just comes with practice, I suppose. What was I doing here? Oh yeah, this was me creating the enemy AI system. So I didn't have a health system to point to. So it was like, okay, right, can't complete this part of the tutorial because I'd been using tutorials and sections and bits and pieces from all over the place to try and tie it together, because there are quite a few different ways of making things happen in Unreal, which is brilliant. It sort of gives versatility, and it also means that me as a student and showing that I can look at different information, interpret it, and use it for my own needs is an important skill to have, and that's something that I want to be able to show. So I've tied a lot of tutorials together and a lot of information, so I purposefully didn't follow a playlist of somebody creating a game. I've jumped in and out of several other different games. I've looked at side scrollers, first person, third person, and decided to go to 2D side scrollers as well, just because some of the elements and a lot of the elements within blueprints are the same, and how you make them, this sort of modular, what they call nodes, modules, nodes, these bits you connect them up, so the actual box is a node. And is the actual box a node? I'm going to have to confirm that actually. Caster point collection, would that be classed as a node? I'm not sure, but they each have different elements in it. So the casters are blue, the set and information, so get and set information, is on the green. Blue, the proper blue is a function, so that one's print string, which actually prints out this was me sort of trying to create a player health. I put it into the third person character blueprint on specifically because one of the things is when you are creating a collectible that's going to be destroyed, you can't put that part of the I suppose you could, but the instance gets reset. So because there are many collectibles on your level that are using that blueprint, you need the point system to be part of a constant. Now the constant is the character, so you can use the character blueprint to add the point system into. This was me going through several other bits and pieces of tutorials while I was going. Most of the time I did pause it so that you don't have to sort of watch a screen like that, and you can actually I'm sort of commenting on things that are actually going on. So at the bottom you can see the compiler results actually tells me that there are sections of my blueprint that aren't going to function properly, which makes it really, really easy, and especially when you're sort of building it up at this stage. I'm not going too fast and I'm not changing too much stuff, so I'm able to deal with any compiler result errors as and when they happen, so that in theory when I get to putting all this together into my level, which is the next stage of it after this is sort of final testing, was putting it all together with using minimal tutorials. I still had to go backwards and forwards and read my own notes and things like that, so there was a bit stop-start. But it was great. It was really, really good. I had a lot of fun doing this, and at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's why I'm here, and this is why I do art, because I really enjoy it. And this has been a lot more enjoyable than I was expecting. My tutor was sort of steering me towards games, and I was sort of digging my heels in a little bit because I told myself that I wanted to be in films and work in film and TV, and yeah, I do want to work in film and TV. My roots are very much game orientated. I used to make game levels and mods for levels back when the internet wasn't around. Anyway, so and I really enjoyed it. I love it. I love that sort of, it's like fast satisfaction really. Do you know what I mean? Being able to do something, create it, and then go straight in and have a go with it. It's really, really good, and being able to give it to my friends at the time when I was at high school, it was great. So having that feeling, getting that sort of instant gratification from this was absolutely fantastic. It's also very easy. I steered away from coding. I don't like coding at all, so this blueprint system is absolutely fantastic. You can see here I've sort of having a quick test. I've